Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're thinking about buying a land or property in Nigeria, I want you to pause, take a deep breath and watch this video to the end. Because what I'm about to share with you today can save you from losing your entire life savings, and I mean that literally. Nigeria has one of the most complicated property markets in the world. For every person who has successfully bought a land or built a home, there are at least 3 others who have horror stories. Stories of being scammed, stories of losing everything, stories of legal battles that never end. But on the other side, there are success stories like mine, people who bought wisely, followed due process, and today we have valuable assets that keep increasing in price. So the difference between a horror story and a success story is what? Knowledge. And in this video, I'm going to give you that knowledge. Yes, this is not just about buying land. It's about protecting your money, protecting your peace of mind, and building wealth that will last. By the end of this video, you will understand the Nigerian market better, the legal documents you need, the scams to avoid, and the step-by-step process to buy a house or land safely. So if you're serious about owning a property in Nigeria, stay with me. This video could literally save you millions. Let's begin with the basics. The Nigerian property market is not the same as you see abroad. In countries like the US or UK, property buying is straightforward. You see a listing, you check the records, you get a mortgage, you close the deal, simple. In Nigeria, it's not that simple. Here, you don't buy property, you buy into a system filled with agents, middlemen, community leaders, government approvals, and sometimes even local family disputes. Now, let's break down the 3 main players in the Nigerian land and property space. Number 1, the number 1 player, Omonile. If you have ever heard that word before, you already know the fear it carries. Omonile simply means children of the landowners. These are the indigenous families who own the ancestral land. Yes. When land in their community is being sold, they are the ones you negotiate with. The problem is not all Omaniles are genuine. Some will sell the same land to 5 different people. Some will sell the land that doesn't even belong to them. And some will keep coming back to demand money for something that you have already paid for. Number 2 is the government. All land in Nigeria technically belongs to the government. According to the Land Use Act of 1978, yes, that means the government can acquire land, allocate land, and decide what happens to it. This is why buying land without checking government records is very dangerous. You could buy land that looks free, but in reality, it's been marked by the government for acquisition. Number 3, real estate developers and agents. In recent years, many private developers have come into the market, especially in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. They buy large portions of land from Omaniles or government, then resell them as estate. Some are genuine, some are scams. Yeah. Some will promise you land with instant allocation, only for you to find out later that the land has legal issues. So when you think of Nigerian property, I want you to remember these 3 groups of people: Omonile, government, and developers. Every land you see for sale must pass through at least one of them. Now that you understand the players, let's talk about the risk. The number 1 risk in buying property in Nigeria is scams. Scams are everywhere. Yeah, from fake agent to fake listed properties to land sold multiple times. If you don't know how to navigate the system, you will fall into one of the scams and lose your money. But don't worry, because in this video, I'll not only show you the scams, I'll give you the tools to protect yourself. Now that you understand the key players in the Nigerian property market, let's dive into the heart of the matter, which is what? Scams. Nigeria has one of the most creative land scams you can ever think about. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into them. So let's go through the most common ones one by one. Scam number 1, multiple sales of the same land. This is the most common. A seller, usually an Omonile family, will sell the same piece of land to 2-3 different people, sometimes even 5 different buyers. How do they do that? Simple. They give each other a receipt, they collect money, and they never issue you proper documents. By the time you want to start building, you discover that someone else has already fenced the land, or worse, someone has started living there. So the real question, who owns the land now? Nobody. Nobody knows. I mean, you spend years in court, wasting money, wasting energy. The lesson here is simple. Never buy a land without verifying ownership and without legal documents. Again, the lesson here is simple. Never buy a land without verifying ownership and without legal documents. Scam number 2, fake documents. Scammers have become very professionals. Yeah, they can print fake survey plans, fake deeds of assignment, even fake certificates of occupancy. They will show you everything and it will look real. The only way to know if it's real is to get yourself a property lawyer who will go and verify in the appropriate government offices. Never, I repeat, never rely only on what the seller shows you. Always take it to the Ministry of Land. Do this through your property lawyer. Scam number 3, selling government land. This one destroys lives. You find a beautiful piece of land, cheap price, great location. You pay, you even fence it. Then one day, the government comes and demolishes everything. Why? Because the land is under government acquisition. It might have been reserved for a road, a school, or some other project that you didn't even know about. This is why it is critical to use a trusted real estate lawyer before buying any land. Scam number 4, fake agents. Agents in Nigeria can be very tricky. Some are genuine, but many are not. Some will take you to land that they don't own or they haven't even given them the right to sell. Some will collect inspection fees from multiple buyers just to keep making money. Some will even introduce you to fake or moneyless. So here's my advice. Never trust an agent blindly. Always trace ownership back to the actual family, developer, or government agency. This one is common with moneyless. You buy the land, you pay for it, you even start building. Then they show up. You need to pay community development fee. You need to pay youth fee. You need to pay foundation fee. In fact, it never ends. The truth is, some of these are actually real, but many are invented just to extort you. Now, the best way to avoid this is to have a lawyer draft your agreement. Put everything in writing, and if possible, buy land from areas where community extortion is minimal. Scam number 6, fake real estate developers. This one is recent. Many so-called real estate companies appear on Instagram promising affordable plots in fast developing areas. They show you glossy flyers, videos of estates, drone shots. They even invite you to seminars. You pay, only to find out that the land they showed you is either government land or has multiple owners. Some developers don't own land, they just resell land. Before you buy from any developer, please check their track record. Visit their previous estate. Talk to existing buyers. Yes, make sure that they actually allocate land to people. Scam number 7, too good to be true deal. This one is the most tempting. A seller comes to you and says, this land is worth 10 million, but I'll give it to you for 2 million. My brother, my sister, run away. Land does not depreciate in Nigeria. If the price is too low, it means there's a problem. It could be litigation, it could be government acquisition, it could be family disputes, but trust me, cheap land will cost you more on the long run. So let's quickly recap. The most common scams are multiple sales of the same land, fake documents, government acquisition, dishonest agents, endless or moneyless fees, fake developers, and too good to be true deals. If you don't know the law, you'll be at the mercy of anyone who does. So in this section, I'm going to break down the most important legal terms and documents you must know before you buy a land in Nigeria. Don't worry, I'll explain them in simple English. The first one is the Land Use Act of 1978. Let's start with the foundation. The Land Use Act of 1978 is the law that governs land in Nigeria. And what does it say? It says that all land in Nigeria belongs to the government. Yes, you heard that right. So technically, nobody in Nigeria owns land outright. The government actually does. What we have is the right to use the land, and the government gives us that right through documents like certificates of occupancy. That's why it's so important to make sure that your land is properly documented, because without documents, the government can claim it anytime. Number 2 is the certificate of occupancy, called the CFO. This is the big one. The certificate of occupancy, commonly called the CFO, is proof that the government has granted you the legal right to occupy a piece of land for 99 years. It's the strongest document you can have on land in Nigeria. If someone offers you land with valid CFO, it means the land has been verified, registered, and approved by the government. But be careful, fake CFOs are everywhere. Always verify through your lawyer. Next one is government consent, right? This one confuses many people. Here's what it means. If a person already has a CFO and they sell the land to you, you need the governor's consent to make the transaction valid. So in other words, Whenever land changes hand, the governor of the state must consent to it. Without governor's consent, your transaction is not legally complete. So if you buy land from someone who has a CFO, make sure you process governor's consent after the purchase. Does that make sense? The next one is deed of assignment. This is another key important document. The deed of assignment is simply a legal paper that transfers ownership of land from one person to the other. Think of it as a receipt, but a legal one. It states clearly who sold the land to you, who bought it, the location, the size, and the terms. If I'm to sell my house to you now, the first document I'll give you is my deed of assignment. Every time you buy land in Nigeria, you must sign a deed of assignment, and it should be registered at the land registry. Without it, your ownership is weak. The next one is survey plan. A survey plan is a drawing of the land. It shows the exact boundaries, the measurement, and most importantly, the status of the land. A good survey plan will tell you whether the land is free, under government acquisition, or committed for a project. Never ever buy a land without asking for a survey plan. Next one is receipt. So this one may sound simple, but it's powerful. Whenever you buy a land, make sure you collect a receipt signed by the real owner. So let's pause and recap. The key documents you must know are certificate of occupancy, governor's consent, deed of assignment, survey plan, and receipt. If a seller cannot provide these documents or cannot explain them properly, please walk away. Because in Nigeria, documents are stronger than bulldozers. Yeah, you may have built a mansion on land, but if you don't have documents, you can lose everything overnight. So now you know the scams, you know the documents, but let's get practical. How exactly should you buy lands in Nigeria, step by step, without falling into trouble? Let me walk you through this process. Step 1, identify the land you want to buy. Everything begins here. You find a piece of land you like, maybe through an agent, maybe through a developer, or maybe you just saw a signboard or even saw it online. Here's the first rule. Don't get excited yet. Don't start imagining your dream house. Don't rush. The fact that the land is available doesn't mean it's buyable. At this stage, what you need is calm down and observe. Ask questions. Who owns the land? What's the history? Is it family land, government land, or estate developer land? Which one is it? Step 2, ask for the document. The moment you show interest, the seller will try to rush you to pay for it. Don't. First, request for the documents. Ask for the survey plan, ask for the deed of assignment if it exists. Every document that I listed previously, ask for it. If they cannot show you any of these documents, that's the first red flag. Step 3, conduct a search. This is the most important step. Don't just look at documents, verify them. Get yourself a property lawyer. I'm talking a real qualified real estate property lawyer. This step alone can save you millions. It is better to pay a lawyer than to lose your hard-earned money on scam. Step 4, I already said this, engage a lawyer. Never buy a land in Nigeria, a house, flat, mansion, whatever it is. Never buy a land in Nigeria without a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but a property lawyer. Your lawyer's job is to check ownership, draft agreements, and ensure everything is legal. They will also help you avoid loopholes that scammers use. Yes, lawyers cost money, but trust me, it's cheaper than losing your land. Step 5, negotiate the price. Once you're satisfied with the documents and your lawyer has given you a go-ahead, negotiate. But remember, cheap land is often dangerous, so instead of looking for the lowest price, focus on getting fair value for safe land. If the land is clean, documented, and in a good location, it's worth paying the right price for. Step 6, payment. When you pay, make sure you do it through transfer means. Example, avoid paying cash in nylon bags. Use bank transfer, collect receipts signed by the owner. If it's a family land, make sure multiple family members that represent that land sign that receipt. Step 7, deed of assignment. Immediately after the payment, your lawyer has okayed it. Your lawyer should prepare a deed of assignment. This document will state clearly that ownership has been transferred to you. It should contain your name, the seller's name, the location, the size, and the date. Both you and your lawyer must sign, and it should be registered under the land registry of the state you're buying the land from. Now, number 8, survey plan. If the land doesn't already have a survey in your name, commission one immediately. This will show your exact boundaries and secure your claim. Step 9, take possession. In Nigeria, ownership is not just on paper, it's also physical. Once you buy a land, take possession of the land. How, you may ask? Clear the land, fence it. Even if you're not ready, fence it. Even if it means to just use blocks or wires or whatever, put up a sign with your name or maybe a company name on it. This discourages omanile and other buyers from disturbing your property. Yeah. Step 10, perfect your title. This is the final step. Now, once you've bought the land and taken possession, don't relax. You must perfect your documents. This means registering your deed, processing governor's consent if necessary, or applying for a CFO. This may take time and money, but once done, your land is 99% safe. Extra tips for safety: always buy land in daylight, not at night. Involve trusted witnesses during payment. Never sign blank documents. Keep multiple copies of all your documents. If it feels rushed, walk away. So let's recap quickly. The safe process is: identify the land, request documents, verify documents, hire a lawyer, negotiate fairly, pay officially, sign deed of assignment, get your survey, take possession, and perfect your title. If you follow these steps, your chances of being scammed just dropped drastically. Now let's talk about real estate developers. In the past, if you wanted to buy land, you had to deal directly with families, the Omaniles. But today, things have actually changed all over Nigeria, especially in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Private real estate developers are everywhere. So what do? They buy large areas of land from families or from the government, then they cut it into plots and resell them as estates. You've probably seen their ads on Instagram or billboard. They show you beautiful gated estates, tarred roads, street lights, green parks. But here's the truth: not all real estate developers are genuine. So let's break it down. The pros and cons of buying through a developer. Let's start with the pros. Obviously, less stressful. When you buy from a good developer, you don't have to deal with omanile harassment, no need to pay foundation fee, youth fee, whatever it is, or endless community charges. The developer handles the community on your behalf. 2, faster documentation. Most developers already have surveys and all the important documents that you need. So processing your documents becomes easier and faster. 3, infrastructure promise. Developers usually promise roads, electricity, security, and fencing. This makes your land more valuable compared to raw family land. 4, flexibility in payment. Unlike Omanile, who wants cash immediately, developers often allow installment payments. This helps you to spread the cost. Now let's get into the cons. Fake developers. Some developers don't actually own the land they are selling. They might have already paid a small deposit to the Omanile, and if they can't complete the payment, the land becomes disputed. 2, overselling. Some developers sell more plots than the land actually available. Yeah, they promise 500 plots, but the land actually has only 300 plots. Buyers fight later. Delayed allocation. You pay, but you don't get your immediate allocation. They keep promising we'll allocate next month until everybody gets frustrated. 4, failure to deliver infrastructure. They promise roads, water, street lights, but years later, the estate is still a bush. Number 5, inflated prices. Sometimes developers charge almost double what the land would cost if you bought directly from Omaniles. So basically, you're paying for branding and packaging. Buying land in Nigeria can be stressful, but if you follow the right process, you reduce your risk to almost zero. So here's a step-to-step guide. 1, identify your purpose. Before buying, ask yourself, am I buying for residential use, for commercial use, or for long-term investment? Your purpose will guide location, size, and budget. 2, set a realistic budget. Apart from the land cost, prepare for legal fees, survey fees, agency fees, development levies if it's in an estate. Always budget 20 to 30% extra on top of the land price to cover hidden costs. Do your market research. Don't rely on one agent. Ask around. Compare prices in that location. Sometimes one seller inflates the price while another sells lower. Knowledge gives you, the right bargaining power. 4, inspect the land in person. Go to the site. Look out for accessibility, road network, flood-prone areas, power supply and infrastructure. Ask neighbors, is it residential or industrial? Never buy land based on only pictures and sweet talk. The next one is to engage a professional surveyor. A surveyor will confirm the exact land boundaries, tell you if it falls under government acquisition, prepare a survey plan for documentation. Take the land details to the state land registry and verify who the rightful owner is, whether the land is free from government acquisition, if they are pending disputes. Now you're wondering, oh, what if you're abroad and you're doing that? This is where you need a property lawyer. This is where your property lawyer comes in. And meet the seller or family if applicable. If the land belongs to a family, meet all relevant family heads. Make sure everyone signs the deed of assignment. If it's a company, ensure it's properly registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And the next one is to negotiate terms clearly. Agree on price, payment structure, possession date, development levies if it's in an estate. Never leave things vague. Yeah, verbal promises don't count. And the most important one I keep talking about is engage a real estate lawyer. Your lawyer should be able to draft or review the deed of assignment, ensure proper transfer of titles, register the transaction with the appropriate authority. Don't cut corners here. A good lawyer is cheaper than losing your land. Another important one is to make payment properly. Pay through traceable means like bank transfer. Preferably get receipts, get copies of everything. Avoid only cash transactions. So don't wait until the land is unaffordable. Don't wait until it's all taken. Even if it's a small plot, start now. Secure something, because one truth will never change. God is not making more land. The earlier you secure yours, the earlier you position yourself and your family for lasting generational wealth. Now, this has been your guide to buying a land in Nigeria, the risk, the truth, and the smart steps. So if you found this video very helpful, please share it with someone who needs it. And remember, land is not just a property, it's power. It's still your girl, Serahdonald. Please do well to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Love you all.